Hello, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. You are listening to the 36 Chambers of Crypto Taxes with Crypto J. I know what you're saying. Oh my God, it's about crypto taxes. But here's the deal, guys. Everything is not going to be about taxes because I'm a tax accountant and I barely want to hear it a lot. However, I really like educating people all around, and I come across a lot of great people and I like what they're saying. And I just want to bring a spotlight to them, spread the word. Anybody that I bring on here, they just love to teach people. I'm not here to sell any investment advice or crypto, whatever you want to do in your life, you want to do. But you can't say that Crypto Day did not try to educate you. You can't say that about me. And today we have a special guest, Dr. Tammy Francis. And what I love about her, and I just kind of told this to her, I follow a lot of speakers, and sometimes you be like, oh, that person's so arrogant. But I'm still gonna listen to you. But but with some speakers, it's like, wow, I think this person really enjoys educating people. And we're just gonna have a discussion about that. So, Dr. Tammy, please tell us about yourself.
First of all, Crypto J, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for asking me onto your platform. I appreciate you and this time and space to share what I do. And I am Dr. Tammy. I am a strategist, consultant, author, and speaker. And my primary thing I do is I help you move in the direction of more and prepare for what's next. And we're going to talk about how I do that in the blockchain crypto space.
I think I need that in general in my life. Forget blockchain, but
I do it in general too. So just keep watching.
All right, so listen, guys. So here's the deal, and this happened to me last month. I was talking to one of my friends. She's very heavy in the community, teaching people in the community, whatever case may be. And as Dr. Tammy know, I do have a non-for-profit, but I kind of told my board, I'm like, yeah, I need a mental break. So I put it on hold. So I was talking to this community leader, and I said, you know what? I'm on hold right now, but I really think you should talk to the community about blockchain technology and the kids because I feel like they're not teaching enough. And what she immediately kind of thought was that I was suggesting of going into the communities and telling them buy Bitcoin, this and that. I say, and she was like, you know what? Why would you do that when people's barely making it here and there? And I had to correct that. I said, first of all, if you look at any of my videos, you know that's not me. I don't do that. But I'm all into educating, and we got to know, even if you know nothing about blockchain, even if you don't have enough money to invest in, there's a whole ecosystem that we don't know about. Like, for example, I say you could be a security guard, but how are you going to promote your security systems to these new up and coming companies if you don't know they exist? You could be a graphic designer, not know anything about technology, design these things because some of these things are just ugly. So
Yeah.
but our community just needs to be aware of that. And I like that you're very positive about that. So, what are your views about why our community should know about it?
Oh, that is a great question, and it's loaded. How much time do we have? So,
uh,
so let me just give you the short version, and then you can ask me follow-up
okay.
questions. Um, first of all, this space is really massive. We're talking about blockchain, just blockchain alone, and all the use cases. If you're talking about cryptocurrency, and you're talking about onboarding, and all the currencies out there, and which ones, and all of this, it's massive. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to learn, and it can be overwhelming to people. But
Right.
what I particularly like for folks to really think about and clinch onto is to understand the magnitude. Yeah, it's a lot of information, but the magnitude that it has and presents for the future, because and how it's going to impact them and their lives in the future, which is right now.
Mm.
And so, what I really like to talk about is the future of work, the future of business, the future of
Mhm.
education, the future of literacy. So, even though I'm the catalyst, and that's what I'm known as, I
Mhm.
think I've kind of add futurist to it as well, is because I really want them to know how can you better position yourself in the future, because no matter if you're a graphic designer, if you're working at McDonald's, whatever it is that you're doing, blockchain technology, this space, cryptocurrency, Web3, NFTs, all those things, those buzzwords people are throwing around, the metaverse, all those things that people are throwing around right now, it's going to impact what you're doing right now, wherever you are, very soon, if not already. And most of the times it's already, but you don't even know it.
Yeah.
And so I like for them to at least be in a position, well, I guess I'm gonna use that word twice, right? Be in the mindset to
Mm-hmm.
position themselves for what's to come, so they can stay competitive and in their industry, whatever industry they're in. And by me being an educator for over 20 years, and of course being in this space of entrepreneur, I know like the many use cases of blockchain. I know that, before the pandemic, it was estimated that blockchain technology will be a part of 40 million jobs, right? The pandemic accelerated that, right?
Yes.
By
Yes.
2030, that was by 2030. Now
Mm.
it's probably by 2025, like in 2 years,
Mm.
right? And so, what that means is now there's robots, there's things taking some of the jobs that people currently have, and blockchain technology is there. I mean, in higher ed, I'm in higher ed, and some of the staff members that deal with enrollment are not even knowing that they're engaging with the blockchain, and why it's so important, to why they should and should not put student data on that in that particular system that they're using, because they don't understand the technology. So some people are using it and don't even know it. And so what I'm really about is, let's talk about how you can strategically, because I'm a strategist,
Mm-hmm.
strategically position yourself so that you're ready for whatever's next for you, for your goals, or in your industry.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm about. Like, get people
That's great
ready.
because what really got me into this, first, me being a tax accountant, I came into being a tax accountant during the housing bubble. I'm 42. I don't care how people know I'm old. I look like I'm 17. But it really affected me because
You're
that's when
young.
when I really saw like how people got hurt in the housing bubble. Because when you're not informed and educated, that means you're usually the last person to adopt it. So a lot of, and I'm
Yes.
gonna say community because I am African American. I know that's what I
Yes.
know.
Our
Um,
community. Yes.
a lot of people just got hurt out in the
Yeah.
really. I literally saw people mortgage interest be higher than their W-2. Like
Yeah.
they make 40,000, and I literally saw like mortgage interest they trying to deduct was higher, and and it really hurt me that I couldn't really educate people. So I say, you know what, the next time I see anything, I'm just gonna be vocal about it. So I think it
That's
was
it.
2018, 2017, Bitcoin came out. Everybody, media's whatever. But then I saw something called smart contracts. I said, oh my god. I said, this is a game changer because
Yes.
nobody in the popular media really talks about it. And it could be a tax seminar about blockchain taxes, and I always bring it up, but I'm like, listen,
Mhm.
guys, I'm not a tech guy, but it's something called smart contract that's going to
Yeah.
change a lot of stuff, and you need to know.
Yeah.
And smart contracts is a game changer. What do you think about
Yeah.
that?
Oh yes. And in education we have this thing called, this that evolved early 2000s, about no child left behind. And so I have this thing like, no black or brown person left behind, right? So that's part of it. So I agree with that. Like, let's get this going. Let's at least be aware, and then you can make decisions. And what
Yeah.
decision you make is on you, but at least you have the information, the education. And so
Mm-hmm.
with smart contracts, so now that's a really big question. I'm not sure which angle to go with that, but I do know that
Mm-hmm.
that idea, we're talking about, the different careers, like the smart contract, like that's. I'm a researcher, so I think of it like research. It's kind of, if this happens, then this happens, right? And so some of the agreements that we make are now can be on that smart contract, and they're automatic, right? You don't have to worry about whether it's going to happen, if you're going to get your money,
Yeah.
or whatever the agreement is, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have that. And so I think I agree, like smart contracts are definitely a game changer. It was funny because someone was I was at a conference speaking, and they were talking about taking my photo, and I was like, that's fine. And they said they were going to put it somewhere. I said, that's fine. But long as you put my 2.5% in that smart contract, then we're all good. Like, so like
Mm-hmm.
it just helps with some of those things, especially like being in business with some of the contracts we have, like some of those can be written into the code if you're using, smart contracts and you're using blockchain technology. So I think it helps our community get what's due to us. Like before you had to kind of beg for it or negotiate, every time something happens. Now, if it's written into the code, it's there.
Boom,
And,
boom.
no matter what happens that other people do out there that's shady, you're going to get it, right? So I think it also helps make sure that, we've always talked about reparations and royalties and all these things. And I think the smart contract helps with some of those
I don't
things.
think people's taking it, at least the people that I tell it to, I don't think they're taking it seriously. I think it
No.
sounds like a buzzword and it's
Yes.
cute right now. And I'm
Yeah,
like, yo,
absolutely.
just keep it simple. What I like to say is just keep it simple. Smart contract in whatever industry you're in. Smart contract in education,
Mhm.
smart contract in
Yes.
and just see what they got out there so you can have a head start and not be,
Yeah.
walk in the office one day like, yo, a computer took the job. And you're like, damn, how did that happen? But it's been going on for years. And
Yeah.
now and then I schools because I have three kids, 11, 8, and 4. So I got no
Oh,
social life.
wow.
Yeah, no social life. Um and all respect to home ec. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I get it. But it's like, come on, man. Teach my son how to make a cake in the year 2022. But we're not teaching them about how it's gonna change them in the future and all other stuff. And they
Basic
don't talk about
financial
financial
literacy.
literacy.
You're
We
an
don't do
accountant,
that.
so basic financial literacy, like
Uh,
that's not even being taught.
so
Like
what they
let's
do in
let's
my
go back
school
there.
district, they just do one day and it's like before lunch. It's like already out the otherly air. This
Yeah.
humongous, I'm not gonna blow off spots, this humongous financial literacy organization. I probably got some behind the back contract with them. They come for one day and that's it. And they have a document. That dude's absolutely nothing, but my son could deal with baking cupcakes for a whole year. Like, come on, man. But it's like if we don't
Yeah.
do it, if we don't do it as adults, as me and you don't at least try to do it, it's just like
It's not gonna
we're
happen.
so behind because especially within our community, I guess that's my Pee Wee Playhouse word of the day. That's like the last thing we'll talk about around the dinner table, or at least not my dinner table. The common dinner table and stuff like that. But
Right.
it affects us all, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But that's why I love following and supporting people like you because it's not a lot of I'm gonna say us, I'm gonna include myself that just generally want to see people do well and not get left behind because stuff moves so fast.
It's
You
moving so
know,
fast.
it's just like ridiculous, man. But the media just wants you to think about Bitcoin and whatever Elon Musk recommends. I'm like, it could be
And how
something
much money
stupid.
you can make, but
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
the other ways that you can really position yourself.
So the moment me and you talk about blockchain, we're not even talking about Bitcoin. We're talking
No.
about the actual technology. People's boo, oh, it goes up and down. I don't want to. I'm like, yo, but I'm not talking about
Talking
that.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think it's really important, to talk about some of those use cases beyond that. Yeah, that's one, but there's so many others. And that's why I really like talking about the future of work. And that way I can connected to what people are doing. Like, hello, if you just research whatever your industry is, kind of like what you said
Yeah.
about the smart contract, or whatever your industry is in blockchain technology, you'll find some use cases. You'll find some examples of how it's being used. And, I think that's really important is to get people to understand like it's not the same, but they conflate the words, they use them interchangeably, and it's not the same. Same thing with all these other words, Web3, and everything goes back to cryptocurrency. And
Mm.
hey, no, it may be a piece, it may be a possibility, it may be a way to utilize it and incentivize or tokenize something, but it's not the thing
Mm.
all the time.
For some reason, and like I said, I'm like the total opposite of a tech person. The
I
metaverse,
am too.
fascinates me so much. I don't understand it, but it fascinates me so much, man. This thing called metaverse, and the
Yeah,
possibilities of it, and where it's gonna.
absolutely.
Because popular media is not really telling about it. Like, yeah, they might say Facebook, blah 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 blah
No,
blah.
no.
But man, it's so much stuff going on, guys. Listen, if you're listening, please, please, just Google metaverse for me. You don't even need to listen to me no more. Just Google it you could do the same thing with your industry. It's just like people are buying real estate in the virtual world. Like, what's going on?
Yes, and a lot of that is happening. And, what I try to tell people is really the metaverse is not even here yet. Like it's a concept people are conceptualizing based on what we know now. But
Mm,
like you say, this space is moving fast. It's constantly evolving. And
mm,
so it's there. And when we're talking about blockchain technology, when I talk about blockchain technology, I talk about it being decentralized,
mm,
right? So when I think about those, like you said, the Facebooks who are now claiming they have this metaverse, it's centralized. Like, so I'm
mm,
really big as well on the maintaining the integrity of those primary or basic tenets of the blockchain and applying that to these other spaces. And the metaverse, it has all these things that we're talking about. It can be all these things we're talking about. And so, but there's other things you got to consider. You got to security, you got to, all these other things that's a part of the metaverse, but it's there. It's a virtual world. And really, it should be where it's interoperable. It's, all those things that we talk about with blockchain technology, it should have that. Right now, it doesn't. Like all
mm.
these spaces where people are buying things, somebody owns that.
Yeah.
So even this idea of ownership and control of your own data and those things, Facebook's in control of your data. You go into their world, they're in control of that. Like, so I think it's definitely something that folks need to research, learn more about, and the evolution of it. Like it's going to constantly evolve. Maybe one day it'll get to what I see it should be, but right now it's not there. And so you've
Mm.
got to be very careful. And I'm always about now, a lot of people in this space, I'm gonna be transparent. I hate when people say do your own research without giving you credible sources to start with.
Yeah,
At
because you could be
least
looking at the
one, point
wrong
you in the
thing.
right dog, because we know in this
Mhm.
industry, there's so many people who are up to no good, as my mom
Selling your
used to
dream.
say.
Yep.
And so just to go research, you may land on the wrong place. So
Mm.
I'm all about, yes, you take control of your own education and research in this space, but I'm all about, pointing people in the right direction. And so I know by you doing all these interviews in this space, I know they can even go to your page and find some things to lead them in the right direction. Then you go down the rabbit hole, but definitely be careful, credible sources, but absolutely start learning, just learn the terms. So when people
Yes.
say them, you're not like, what are they
What?
talking about? What is that?
Like,
What
is
is
that a
that?
new rap
A
group? What's going on?
BLT? What are you talking about? A BLT? Oh, NFT? What is this? Right? So you don't want those things to happen. So you want to at least know the terminology. You want to know at least, so if you're in a meeting at your job and they start talking about this and your boss is introducing something new, and this is where we're going to now have our meetings in this virtual world when we're having our online meetings. They're going to be remote, but now they're going to be in this thing. You need to at least know what that entails. What does that mean? What does that look and feel
And
like?
don't be
So that way
humble with
you're not,
it. Just
yeah.
raise your hand in the meeting and be like, yo, yeah, blah, 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 busting lingo and just be quiet. They're gonna be like, oh, I didn't know. But give Dr.
They can do
Tammy
that
and
too.
Crypto
They
J
can do that
this
too.
respect. We told you to do that. Just drop the mic on them. Just say the terms. Just don't say nothing else. They're gonna be like, oh my God, Susan, what? I didn't know Susan knew all that.
Yeah.
But
Just the basics. Start there.
and I like to say diversify. I know I have blockchain for the people. Sometimes people
Yes.
just assume that this means black people, but I mean all people. Because a lot of times the stereotype is that crypto world is 99.9% white male. Nope, it's not. They're the ones that got money. But if you just look at what I like to do, obviously I like to look at African Americans, but
Mhm.
every group, gender, they talking about crypto. You can find them, but just we have different point of views, different communication styles we did, and you can just learn a lot. I look at a straight white dry white male. I look at his video, and then I look at a hood black guy video. I'm like, oh my God, this is her. But everybody's very smart guys, no matter what the communication skills are and how they want to do it. But it's diversified because then, like what Dr. Tammy said, now you know what different resources look because it's not one person that knows everything. I don't care how
Mhm.
smart or rich it is, not one person that know everything, but these little, so very much
Ex-
diversify who you
Yes.
listen to.
Yes, because a lot of people, will consider some of us that have been in this space several years now experts. But I want people to know there may be levels to that word. And I don't really consider any of us experts because it's constantly evolving, it's constantly moving, it's
Changing.
constantly going. Now, I know when people use that word, that means that you have experience in that space. So I honor that, I accept that. However, I also want you to know that there are really no experts.
Yeah.
Like, we use that to give titles so we can introduce people, but there are no experts. And because it's so new, and if you hop in now, start learning now, you'll actually be ahead of the curve. Don't let what you're hearing, the buzzwords and all this, and people saying, "Oh, you're late, you're late, you're late." You're not late. You're right on time. Come join us, come learn, connect with him, get some of his resources. Definitely stay connected. And there's so many resources out there that are free or very inexpensive. And I encourage
Yes.
you to do that, whether you want to reskill, upskill, if you just want to learn basic education. They have 6-week programs out there that are free, they call them scholarships because that's what they're doing right now, but they're free. And this is a great time to take advantage of learning new things and learning this new thing, blockchain technology. And in that, you're going to learn about cryptocurrency and all these words we mentioned today, because it's a part of the space, because those things are built on the blockchain. So,
Nice. Dropping
there's my
gems.
rant. I'm sorry, I just had to do that.
And as a
But
rule of thumb, like when I'm looking, because I'm fairly new, I'm trying to learn the terms and stuff like that. I feel like if I find someone that's kind of showing off about how much their portfolio is and how, I don't watch them, because I'm like, man, you're doing something wrong, because real people, they're not telling you about how much
don't do
crypto,
that. Don't
because
do
you will
that. No
get
matter if
got.
you have $5, don't tell anybody.
Don't tell any. Listen, I don't care if you're a crypto billionaire. Please don't tell the streets you got, because they will steal your computer, they will steal your wallet.
Yeah,
You're not exempt. Trust me.
you're
So
not
when I listen
exempt.
to other people, I'm like, you probably don't have it, or you just too dumb enough to like really, you're just lying about it. Really
They may
listen.
would have had it if they didn't lose it back in 2012. No.
Yeah, like, come on, man. Like, I'm a crypto millionaire. Yeah, the IRS is watching. Like, you need to chill out. I mean, you're really
Yeah.
not that smart. But so be careful out there, and definitely look at people like myself and Dr. Tam, because you look at our videos, we're not trying to sell you a dream. Straight
Yeah.
education, straight from my experience, and whatever happens, happens.
And so, Crypto J, can I say one more thing that's
Yes.
really that goes aligned with this? And I know you all are hearing like, oh, I have all these crypto and ooh, but I want y'all to know, like, and I going back to something he said earlier about people don't have money to live. I get that. I grew up poor. We couldn't even afford the other OR to be poor. We were poor.
Uh-huh.
So I get that. But what I also know is that if you would like to kind of jump in, one, get with someone, a mentor, someone who can help onboard you, get some education around it first. But when you are ready to onboard, know that you don't have to do the 20,000. I didn't even check it today, what it is today, or whatever it
Mhm.
is, or even when it was like 66,000. You don't have to do an entire Bitcoin. Like,
Yep.
you can do $5. You can do $5 a month. You can do $5 every 2 weeks. We call that dollar cost averaging, where you just put in whatever you can afford. So if you want to do $10 every 6 months, whatever it is, like, you can do that too. Like, you don't have to go all in and put everything. And talking about diversifying your portfolio, you don't want to do that anyway, right? And so that's just something I just want to put that disclaimer out there. You don't have to, listen to these people and be intimidated by it. If you
Mm.
want to get in here, latch onto the education and go.
Yeah, if somebody's telling you to put your whole life savings, just
No,
turn that person off. Because that person,
turn them off, keep going the other way. Like, that's not how you do
because
this,
that person
especially
trying
when
to
you're
get
learning. You
you.
want to just put
Yeah.
maybe $5 and see what happens,
And
right?
before you
You just want
complain,
to,
like, oh, $10, $15, I know for a fact, because I got a family of five, I'm married with 3 kids. If I go to McDonald's, at minimum, it's
at minimum.
$50. And we don't
I know,
even
isn't that
eat a lot.
crazy? Yeah. And that's crazy.
Yeah,
I remember we
minimum.
were growing up.
It's like cheaper to go to a diner now. I'm like, when did McDonald's become more expensive than a diner or a restaurant? Like, how did that happen? But I don't know.
Exactly.
Different
Yeah.
video. But Dr. Timmy, thank you for coming out. How can people keep in contact with you? And also gonna put it in the bio and stuff like that.
Thank you. So I am Dr. Tammy Francis with an I everywhere on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, all of them, YouTube. I'm Dr. Tammy Francis everywhere. I am on LinkedIn, Dr. Tammy Francis there, but you'll probably have to put in Tammy Francis because you know it goes by your first name first on LinkedIn, even when your link says something different. And so I'm Dr. Tammy Francis everywhere. My website, drtammyfrancis.com. So for my entrepreneurs out there, I just gave you a branding marketing tip. Make it easy
Nice.
for people to find you, Dr. Tammy Francis everywhere. And definitely connect with me. And if I'm offering anything that you would like to take advantage of, I hope that you will, because some of the things that I post and share are free. So
Yeah, definitely follow. I always follow her Instagram and like and forward it and all that stuff. So I definitely approve of it. And listen, guys, on my end, I'm doing tax deductions, whatever. Just Google that. Here's the deal. What I'm gonna do for y'all. December, January, letters is going to come out. IRS letters is going to be flowing out the woodwork. So what I'm going to do, since I represent a lot of people from the IRS government on regular tax issue, I'm going to do a whole series teaching
nice.
you how to respond to those letters and not get intimidated, how to find the right help, how to say the right lingo. And it's going to be off the hook because it's not, as I research the internet, it's not a lot of that. It's like, oh, deduct that, whatever, just whatever. But I'm going to teach you how to survive that audit, so look at the video series and the blog. So that's coming, guys.
Nice. I love it. I love it.
All right, guys. So
Thank
you
you
have a
so
great
much for
one.
this.
All right, bye.